This is the Lightbearer Tabata workout. It's going to require each exercise be done for 20 seconds, alternating with 10-second breaks, for a total of 4 minutes per exercise. It's best to use some form of a Tabata timer just to ring you through the work and rest intervals. This is a fantastic workout for blitzing the core from all different angles, pelvic stability. It requires dumbbells and very little else. We're going to go through the exercises, starting off with number 1, which is the knee up sit down squat. So for this one here, you're going to hold dumbbells down by your sides with your palms facing in. Stand with the back of your legs against a bench or chair. Push your hips back and bend the knees until seated all the way down. Stand up, drive one knee up and down in front of you, and repeat, alternating legs for the knee up at the top of each repetition. This is going to work hips, thighs, single leg stance stability. As a progression, you would hold the weights in front of your shoulders like this, with palms facing each other. And repeat. Doing this variation is going to challenge the core cylinder a lot more, and it's going to increase your heart rate a lot more. That is exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is going to be the high heel dumbbell balance rows. So you're going to be balancing a dumbbell on standing it tall on a bench or chair with your palm flat on top of the top end plate. Your goal here is to not let it tip over. So just to give you a close-up view, this is what I'm doing. My hand's on the end plate like that. Okay? The other hand is going to hold the dumbbell down at arm's length. Now, to add to this, I'm going to have my heels up the whole time to work my foot and ankle stabilizers. Then you pull the dumbbell up beside the waist, lower it back down, and repeat. For this exercise, you can use various grips. You could go palm forward, you could go palm facing you, you go sideways grip, and you can even do a rotational grip from overhand to sideways. All are good, and I recommend just cycling through them every time you do the workout. As a progression, you do a pump at the top. You go all the way up, lower it an inch, all the way back up, then all the way down. Lower an inch, all the way down. That's a pump. Now you could also, as a further progression, do a triple pump. 1, 2, 3, and lower. 1, 2, 3, and lower. And an even further progression, more advanced, is to do a drop catch at the top of each rep. You bring it all the way up. You just drop it and catch it in your grip. And that will shock the muscles into firing. Great exercise for the pull movements, feet and ankle stabilizers, and shoulder stabilizers. By holding on to that vertical dumbbell and stabilizing it so it doesn't tip, is going to get all those little shoulder muscles to be really intelligent at preventing micro shifting. Now the next exercise we're going to be doing is a dumbbell pass deadlift. For this exercise here, you want to have your feet together, side by side, touching, just like I am right there. You're going to be holding a dumbbell straight down in front with your palm facing you, so it's an overhand grip. Your free hand, you can place it on your abs or low back to monitor your low back. The reason is that you're going to be doing a forward bend here, but you don't want to be rounding your low back and slumping it. You want to keep a straight low back at all times, and if it starts to round, that means you've gone too low. So the way that this movement is done, I'm just going to give you a sideways view, okay? You're going to push your hips back, that's how you initiate the movement, and then you fold forward, sliding the dumbbell down toward your feet. You come up tall, you turn the dumbbell sideways, pass it to the other hand, and repeat. Turn it sideways, pass it to the other hand, and repeat. So I'm just going to show you a close-up view of how this pass looks. Okay, so I go down, I come up, I turn it sideways like this. That makes it easier to pass it to the other side, okay? So from this angle here, you would do the bend, you turn it like this, and carefully pass it from one hand to the other. A progression of this is to do the exercise one-legged. So I would go like this, all the way down, all the way up, pass it to the other hand, all the way down, all the way up, pass it to the other hand, okay? That's going to bring in more stability demands. And you could do it one-legged alternating, or one-legged, passing the hands back and forth, and you just switch legs each set. Now the fourth exercise we're going to be doing is the side arm and leg raise. Okay, for this one here, you have your free hand on the front of your abs. You're going to raise the same side arm and leg up and out to the side while gently leaning away from them, as you see me doing here. Then I stand up tall and repeat. Okay? This is going to work the deltoids, the glute medius, lateral, hip, and core stabilizers. As a progression, you can do a little bit of a drop catch with the dumbbell at the top, just like that. A further progression you could include is to take a closed loop elastic mini band like this, okay, and step through it so it's around both ankles. And you could do the movement like this so that that is resisting the lateral leg raise as a progression for the hip stabilizers. That is the side arm and leg raise. You would alternate sides each set, but as a progression, you could do 8 sets on one side and then 8 sets on the other. The next one is the cross-body hammer curls on a single leg. So for this one here, the motion for the upper body is holding both dumbbells down by your sides. You're going to curl it up and across to the front of the opposite shoulder. That's the cross-body hammer curl. Now you're going to be doing that while standing on one leg, like this. Okay? So it's going to be working the long head of the biceps, single leg stance stability. If you need to, you have the toes of the raised leg gently touching the ground, and that will give you a little bit of extra stability if it's too hard to balance. If you absolutely have to, then just have both feet down side by side. Now, a progression of this is to do a little bit of a pump at the top of each cross-body curl. Just a little bit of a pump like this. And that will challenge the biceps to a greater degree. The next one we're going to be going on to is the vertical dumbbell press. Now, you typically use about an 8 to 15 pound dumbbell here, and I'm going to show you the grip. You're going to be gripping the dumbbell like this. So you're holding it vertical while palming the bottom end plate. Because you're going to be using a lot of shoulder stabilizers and your triceps in order to keep that from wobbling around. Other than that, it's going to be a traditional one-arm press, laying face up on the floor. But we're always going to keep the free hand close to spot as needed. So, for this one here, you're going to be laying face up on the ground, okay? Knees bent. Bring your heels as close to your glutes as you can. Hips up all the way the whole time. Now you can see that the back of my arm is on the ground, my forearm's pointing up, and I'm stabilizing that dumbbell in a vertical position. I keep my free hand close, and I just press it all the way up and down like this. And what that's going to do is isometrically, I'm working my glutes, my hamstrings, a little bit of the low back, plus dynamically, I'm working the triceps, shoulder stabilizers, and a little bit of the chest. Now, if you wanted to progress that, you could take this closed loop mini band, step your feet through it, and when you're doing this glute bridge, you just have this up at your knees, like that, so that when you do the glute bridge portion, you're pushing your knees out the whole time. So it'd be like this. And that's going to bring in even more glute muscles. So once again, just pressing it up and down, keeping it steady, hips up the whole time. Now the final exercise in the workout is plank rotations, all right? This is a fantastic exercise for the core. What you're going to be doing here is you're going to be down on your forearms and toes like this. You're going to move your shoulders and hips as one piece to rotate onto your side. You're going to come back down to the center, rotate down on the other side, back down to the center. Now, when I rotate down to the side, my feet are on the side, okay, but they're about a fist distance apart. So they're not stacked, they're about a fist distance apart. And just to give you a view of that, it would be like this. Okay, so you can see that my feet are not stacked and I just lowered down onto the edges. So you want to go at a steady pace, keeping your spine as straight as you can. The biggest mistake on this exercise is to tip the hips first, then follow through with the shoulders. We don't want to disassociate them. We want to keep them moving as one piece. So just to give you another view here, you're going to turn onto one side, you're moving them at the same rate and the same speed. The way to do it wrong would be hips first, then shoulders, hips first, then shoulders. We don't want to do that once again because we're disassociating the core. We want to use the core as a conduit for helping to transfer strength and stability between the upper and lower body. In that way, it's going to help to bulletproof you against back pain and injury. So, this is the Lightbearer workout, inspired by Donald Walters, a wise man who lived a number of years ago, who said that suffering is just false expectations. But I expect that if you commit to this workout, you're going to love it, and you're going to find it gives you some amazing results. Once again,